Антона Корбейна оказалась одним из самых интересных фильмов этого фестиваля. Она не участвовала в гонке за медведей, но это не помешало ей прекрасно рассказать историю актера Джеймса Дина.
I don't want to play this stupid game.
You don't have to. I mean, just let me help you. I got 30 million people reading Life magazine, and we do a great shoot. I mean, none of this stuff.
Wait a minute, you think you're giving me something that's not already coming my way? I lose myself in my roles. I don't want to lose myself in all this other stuff.
Right.
I thought it was interesting to look at the relation between a photographer and the subject matter, if that subject is in the public eye, because I tend to do a bit of that myself. I think it's alluded to in the film where Dennis Stock thinks he's doing James Dean a favor, and James Dean he thinks he's doing Dennis Stock a favor.
They think that they can protect me by moving around all the time.
You know, in a strange way, I related to this character a lot more than any film I've ever done, because I filmed it right before I went on the press tour for Spider-Man, and there was kind of a lot looming over me in terms of my future, publicity, and what the future was going to bring in terms of my career and, you know, fame, really, which is in a big way what James Dean is dealing with in this film. What it means to accomplish your dreams and what the personal sacrifice that comes along with that.
I don't know, I thought he was quite a timeless character as well. It's the story, you know, someone who's trying to be an artist, and you know, his fear of not being as good an artist that he thinks he is the most debilitating part of his life, and I think that's, you know, it's quite a timeless story.
На пресс-конференции не обошлось без странных вопросов.
Do you think that the fact that Dane DeHaan, Dane is a D-A-N-E and Dean is D-E-N-A-N, that influenced maybe you, Mr. Corbijn, or maybe this was a fate for you, Mr. DeHaan? I mean, even in your family name there is D-E-A-N.
Well, I mean, that was the reason to approach Dane, obviously. And yeah, with Rob and Dennis, that was harder to find the similarity in the name, but we got there in the end.
I'm not really one to believe so much in fate, but I do look at the opportunity that Anton gave me as a huge gift, a really rewarding experience, and they did misspell my name on the my schedule for the press tour, or for this film festival, as Dean DeHaan.
Антон Корбейн не только снял прекрасный байопик, он еще сотворил какое-то чудо с Робертом Паттинсоном и заставил ее по-настоящему играть.
Well, you're not. Well, that was your stand-in at the Star is Born premiere, and all this with Pierre. That was a real relationship. I think you're experiencing real loss right now.
I don't know. I mean, I did feel like being a paparazzi for a second. I do empathize with, you know, their plight. I was filled with self-loathing and wretchedness, and wanted to really kind of harm myself at the end of every day. So I do feel for them. At the end of the day, I feel that they go home and kind of beat themselves. That's what I was doing to get into character.
I think we got your camera like 3-4 months prior to shooting, and old Leica from that period and some film, and I left basically Rob at it. I think it was important that he familiarized himself with a old-fashioned camera, and you know, made it feel like part of his body in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I was shooting with this, I think it was something like a 1953 Leica or something for a few months before taking some pretty awful photographs.
It was a different time, you know, studios owned the actors in a way that they would almost just have a roster, you know, of a certain amount of people, and they would own you for years at a time, and you would live on the studio lot, and they would tell you the films you were going to do, and they would be in charge of the image that you were going to project. I'm not on a 10-year contract with a studio, and I can make a movie and then I can make my own personal choice for the film that I would like to do next. That wasn't necessarily the case back then. So I think that's the advantage of being an actor today, although it would be really cool to live on a bungalow on a studio.
They'll never hand you a pamphlet. Or I never asked to see it anyway. just put the money on the table and get out. You don't get paid for these.
Stan, don't. I mean, you shouldn't. Don't.
The films that James Dean was making, 2 of them were really for a younger audience. You know, East of Eden, Rebel Without a Cause, really for a teenage audience, I guess. And he was such a open, emotional vessel that I think he tapped into human nature in a way that these young people really responded to. And Rebel Without a Cause and Giant didn't come out until after his death. So it just left people wondering what would have happened. Where would James, I think James Dean would be 83 today. Like, he could be here. What would he be doing? You know, that's a question I think everyone that is familiar with him will always ask themselves. And there's these photos. You know, if you don't know these 3 films, if you're a young person that doesn't know who James Dean is, you know that photo of him in Times Square. It's that iconic of a photo. So all of these things, I think, were just a perfect recipe for him to become the icon that he is today.
Where in New York makes you most happy?
All right, but you're not gonna like it.
Show me.